A charming old lady enters the life of Perry Mason at 4:30 this evening on 1 in the case of the Fiery Fingers. Now the 1 o'clock news with Eamon Lawler.
Soviet conservatives support Communist Party reform, but Mr. Gorbachev comes in for bitter personal criticism. The foreign ministers of America and France discuss Eastern Europe at Shannon. Some crew members of the Tribulus are brought to land as the damaged vessel makes for Bantry. Good afternoon. In Moscow, leading Communist Party conservatives, including Mr. Igor Ligachev, are reported to have come out in favour of abandoning the party's statutory monopoly on power. But even as Mr. Gorbachev was chalking up that success, he was coming under bitter personal attack for the failures of his reform programme.
President Gorbachev proposed an end to the Communist Party's monopoly on power when the Central Committee met yesterday. This move would pave the way for a multi-party system in the Soviet Union. He also proposed that his own job of General Secretary should be abolished to make way for a new post of party chairman. The Soviet leader said that the current wave of political debate in the country would lead at some stage to the formation of political parties. The reform package represents a huge gamble for President Gorbachev and for the Communist Party, which stands to lose most if the reform proposals end the power monopoly guaranteed in the Constitution. President Gorbachev said that the party can only play a vanguard role if it is democratically elected. The conservative and elderly Central Committee was expected to resist the proposed changes, but political sources in Moscow believe that President Gorbachev has convinced them that the wave of popular unrest sweeping the Soviet Union will hasten the party's demise unless it moves forward into the democratic mainstream, which is now the order of the day in the Eastern Bloc. President Gorbachev has won support from hardliners, including Igor Ligachev, who spoke in favour of the abolition of Article 6 of the Constitution, which guarantees the party its monopoly on power. But President Gorbachev was directly attacked by some conservative members, with at least one calling for his resignation. Other speakers at the Central Committee meeting have criticised aspects of Gorbachev's reform package, but refrained from any personal attacks on the Soviet leader.
Ron Hill, specialist in Soviet politics at Trinity College Dublin. Mr. Gorbachev has always represented the Conservatives as his main opponents, the big obstacles to reform. Has he got them on the run now?
I think he has, and the very fact that we heard in the report that Ligachev has now indicated that the article enshrining the party leading role in the Constitution can go, that indicates that Ligachev, at any rate, may be fighting for his political life.
But there still remains, of course, the hardliners who occupy positions of influence right through the whole Soviet system.
They are, and it's quite clear that they're going down fighting at the very least. There was a strong attack yesterday by the ambassador to Poland, former Prime Minister in the Belarusian Republic, more or less saying that perestroika was the cause of all this problem.
And he's not the only one who's criticising Mr. Gorbachev. There are attacks from the right and from the left.
And from the left, and indeed in Madrid yesterday, Yeltsin published an interview in which he said that Alexander Yakovlev, another Politburo member, was the only man who could lead the country out of the problems.
Hasn't Mr. Gorbachev unleashed a genie which must eventually turn on himself? He cannot open up Soviet society without coming in for the kind of criticism he's had today at the Central Committee, criticisms of his clinging to leadership by one man. Mustn't it get him in the end?
I think the answer is probably yes, but he is quite a remarkable political genius, I think, and his problem is to present chaos or argument as a normal part of political life. That has not been part of political life for 70 years in the Soviet Union. He's presenting a new image. Whether he can pull it off, who can tell, really?
It's only 2 months since he was practically shouting down Andrei Sakharov for trying to raise the repeal of Article 6 in the Parliament. Now he's actually proposing it. Is that the behaviour of a man who's really in control?
I think the answer is no, but he's clearly unleashed, as you say, a genie. Things have happened in Eastern Europe, including the abolition of the party's leading role, and I think it's inevitable eventually that the same would happen in the Soviet Union too.
Ron Hill, thank you very much. Politicians from East and West Germany at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland have proposed a scheme to make the Eastern mark convertible against the Western one as a step towards German union. But the president of the